Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Anime Review Time. I'm the new Devil King, and this week we're looking at Sword Art Online. Let's dive in. Now it's important to remember that this is just my opinion, and you have every right to disagree. But if you do, please tell me why in the comments down below. All I ask is we keep our comments polite and respectful. My grading rubric is the same as it always is, but for those new to the channel, I have it written in the description below. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up, and think about subscribing to show your support and keep up to date with my latest projects. With that out of the way, let's get started. In this episode, I'm going to focus primarily on the first story arc and try to avoid as many spoilers as I can. The characters log into a VR MMORPG, a virtual reality massively multiplayer online role-playing game called Sword Art Online. After a short time in the game, they realize they can't log out, and are told by the creator of the game that the only way to return to the real world is to clear all the levels and beat the game. However, if they die in the game, they'll die in real life. Moving on to the grading. As far as animation and art style go, there are many primary and secondary characters with unique faces, hair, clothes, and equipment. As the show progresses through the levels, we see many new environments. Each is unique and beautiful. The natural movement of the character's body, hair, clothing, and equipment, as well as the movement of the camera, is smooth and well done. And so animation earns 28 out of a possible 30 points. Personally, I loved the design of Aincrad. The exterior of the floating castle, the interior landscapes, and the sheer expanse of each of the floors. They did a great job using the natural and artificial lighting to cast the right depth of shadow in the right areas. It was refreshing to see characters coming in so many shapes and sizes. There was a decent balance of male and female characters, but in regards to ethnicity, there was very little variety. Even so, this show is visually pleasing. Moving on to the protagonist, we get a clear idea of his motivations, and he's a fairly relatable character. We see him develop a lot during the first story arc, but his character could use more depth. Considering this, the protagonist earns 27 out of 36 points. I like Kirito. The quality I most admire is his selflessness. One example is when he declares himself to be a beater to spare the societal discord between beta testers and regular players. Admittedly, it would take a lot of courage to mark yourself as a target and be looked down on by all the other players. However, I feel this is a greater display of his selflessness. Any brave player could have made themselves a target, but Kirito was willing to sacrifice everything, friendship, partners, potentially even his life further on in the game, just to create a sense of balance between the other players. Again, this is only for the first story arc. I don't expect much depth from the supporting characters, but I still felt these characters were lacking. We do see some growth and development of the characters throughout the arc. They do a decent job pushing the story forward, but many of them aren't very memorable. And so the supporting cast earns 12 out of a possible 18 points. Kirito doesn't get many friends in the series. Most of the supporting characters have niche roles in order to progress the plot. Although we're introduced to a few romantic interests during the first arc, it's not until about the halfway point that we start seeing some real development. And it's nice to see some characters returning after not seeing them for a few episodes. Next, we'll look into the antagonist for the first story arc. This is where I feel the series suffers the most. The characters' motivations are generally a mystery to us, and as such, there's little relatability to the character. Over the course of the first story arc, we don't get to learn much about him, and so there's not a whole lot of depth to go on. Due to these factors, the antagonist earns 5 out of a total of 28 possible points. Now that's just for the primary antagonist of the first story arc. we do have some smaller hurdles for our protagonist, Kirito, to overcome during that saga. During these smaller challenges, Kirito takes a side seat to the short story going on in each episode. The antagonist in each of these challenges ranges from the character's own mental state to other characters to the environment itself. None of these pose any significant risk or danger to Kirito, which to me results in a lack of suspense or drama. Now for where the anime exceeded my expectations, in its storytelling. The way the story is told is captivating. Sword Art Online more than fit its genre, it almost redefines the genre. The story arc is incredibly fast-paced, keeping you on your toes with every episode. Nothing that is shown or happens in an episode is meaningless. Every detail is there for a reason. The dialogue between characters always feels natural. From funny conversations to stern arguments, the pace of conversation always fits the mood. And so storytelling earns 45 out of a possible 50 points. Trying not to reveal too many spoilers for viewers who haven't seen the series yet is difficult. I really enjoyed the overall story arc, and all the side stories. Every episode gave me something worth watching. With an entire genre of anime, where the setting is the cast of characters being trapped in the world of a game, Sword Art Online went about trapping the players in the game through logical means, not some sort of fantastic rationale. This made it more relatable and set the stage for the overall goal of the first story arc. And now for the final area of grading, the overall presentation. I love that every episode wasn't burdened with a recap of previous episodes, and that even though every episode had sword fighting, it didn't feel repetitive or tedious. The voice actors in this series did an amazing job bringing the characters to life. The audio effects engineers also did a fantastic job recreating the sounds and clanking of the weapons, which helped draw you into the show. The musical scores throughout the series did a great job capturing the energy of each scene. Honestly, a phenomenal, fast-paced series that earned a rewatch in my opinion. Finally, our presentation score earned 33 out of a possible 38 points. And now some final thoughts. With an overall score of 150 points, Sword Art Online is an enjoyable show that I would recommend for anyone to watch. I pointed out various criticisms I have with the show in the first story arc, but later on in the series many of these are addressed. If you have seen SAO, let me know in the comments below if my evaluation was on the money or way off the mark. And if you haven't seen the show yet, I invite you to check it out, then come back and let me know what your thoughts are. Well, that's it for this week's episode. I'd like to give special thanks to Parabolic Entertainment for helping set this up. If you guys have time, check out some of their videos like Bored Batman. I'll leave a link in the description. So until next time, I'm the new Devil King, and this was Anime Review Time.